Endo Mill's all up on that Canada Dry.
Well, if you drink anything else, it'd be sacrilege.
Sacrilege.
Are you? Well, yeah, that's fair. For him, it would be.
Yeah.
How?
Well, because you're Canadian.
Because you're Canadian.
Yeah.
You're not legally allowed to drink Schweppes without fear of being deported.
I mean, I'm not legally allowed to drink Schweppes because it's disgusting.
Shots fired.
I've drank in Schweppes because it's like at the dollar store, like 80 cents a pop. So
yeah,
it's
not even good enough.
It's not even good enough for
Schweppes. It's not even good enough for the $1 limit there. They put it at 80 cents. That's how much it sucks.
A 1 liter bottle for 82 cents.
What'd I say?
Coming soon to the Tougies Take podcast, new co-host. But until then, for now, hello, hi, we're back with another episode.
I just made it a year, and I'm already gonna get replaced.
Yeah, well, apparently it's going to be a theme because one of the questions was, are you bringing back podcast awards like the Sean William Scott Award that we had, which was a lovely Deeds joke, and now it's been a year since he's been here, so every year rotating cast for seasons. You're out of here. You're not. Right. Please don't go. We have so much fun together.
It's like baseball, 100 pitches, you're out of there. I don't care how good you're doing.
Oh, you know, Polina song.
I don't care.
I am the Tony La Russa of hockey podcasts.
I don't care what kind of fucking no-hitter you're throwing. You're out after 100 pitches.
I will be dragged kicking and screaming into the new age of open thinking.
He's just gone now, I guess. So
I know. Endo just fucking left. We started the show. But hello, everybody. Again, we are back. A nice cold open for the podcast. Our final one-a-week podcast because training camps are open, which means next week we begin our little division season previews, which is going to be a hell of a lot of fun. But for now, Endo's back in the chair. Endo, how are you?
Back in the frame and back in action. I'm tired. That's it. I'm just tired. I had 2 games last night. Now I have 2 more games tonight. Just trying to earn that dollar because shit's expensive, man. Yeah.
Earn that money.
Shit's expensive.
It is expensive.
Zan, how are you doing, my friend, in this world of expensive things?
Yeah, I'm doing okay. Yeah. I don't know. Besides that, just still doing my thing.
Getting copywritten by your own.
Yeah, but with my own fucking song on my YouTube channel, that's fun.
So for anyone who doesn't know, Sin tried to put his own music onto his YouTube video and he got copyright flagged.
Yeah. And I'm like, I appealed once and like, oh, you can appeal again. Like, here's a legal thing to fill out. And I'm like, I'm not even gonna risk it because I don't care enough about the 1K views that I got on that video or whatever, like $20, whatever, throw it out the window. I just don't care enough about like that to get an actual copyright strike on my channel. Like, I'm not trying to do that.
The lovely world of trying to navigate YouTube, huh?
Yeah.
I mean, we just it's a lovely world that we try to make our way through. But again, everybody, today our final weekly weekly episode, the recapping of the things that happened in the past week, because again, training camps are starting up. John Tortorella's already trying to bag skate his entire team to death so that they actually try, which Flyers fans seem to be pretty pumped about. I am so excited to be able to talk about the Flyers in full. We'll be talking about them today for more negative reasons as opposed to anything positive that Torts might get out of the lineup. But we got the Flyers to talk about. We got whether or not the Sharks are going to play in the Czech Republic. And of course, more NHL 23. But before we get down to business today to defeat the Huns, a friendly reminder, as always, that this podcast is brought to you by our friends at Manscaped. You can use code Tougie at checkout for 20% off your order and free shipping to get the best tools for the job. Again, with our friends at Manscaped. Head to toe, they got you covered. Circular deodorant and all. As we've been riding that train for almost a year.
Yeah.
Just Endo at every possible turn. Where is the circular deodorant?
No,
or did you finally make your way
don't get him started. Oh my God. I thought we crossed an important threshold. He didn't scramble around looking for it when you mentioned it. And then you had to do that, and now he's scrambling.
Yeah. it's kind of funny, you know, because he
I have
always
body
knows.
spray.
Ah,
I have body spray.
Okay,
I
he's
have
got
body
body
spray. Okay.
Spray it
Look,
on the
just-
camera. Show them how good quality.
Yeah, look at this. Hold on. Look at this.
Look at this
Fuck,
shit.
It's not going. Hold on. There we
Please
go.
don't.
Yeah.
Okay.
Full
there you
screen
go.
on this. Yeah.
Hey, maybe it'll reduce his camera quality so we don't have to wait 20 minutes every time after we record for him to render.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
Manscaped.com, code Tougie. A big thank you to them as always. Let's get into some viewer questions. What is your favorite ginger ale? That comes from Cody from Maine. Interesting one there. Canada Dry is the elite ginger ale, but like
Yes.
the disrespect to Schweppes. It's not bad. Like people are acting like it's
It's
a
not good either.
generic store brand cola. Like, how dare you? Like, just because
I'd
it's
rather
not in the
drink
S
RC
tier doesn't
Cola.
mean it's in the F tier.
You know what?
Yeah.
I would drink some Dr. Skipper before I would drink some Schweppes.
Dr.
You never
Pim,
had
Mr.
Dr.
Pim?
Skipper. It was Safeway, or I don't know what it would be called elsewhere. Vaughn's, I think, in most other places. Safeway / Vaughn's. They had Dr. Skipper, and it was just a store brand Dr. Pepper.
I'm trying to see.
Or maybe it was
Where
Mr.
the
Skipper.
nearest-
No, it was definitely Dr. Skipper.
Let's see. Where is the? I wonder if I can find where the nearest Safeway is to me, because
Look up Vaughn's, too.
no, that's just not a. That is just not a thing. I don't know if
I don't know if they still
Safeway?
have it. I remember it as a kid. Like,
Fair enough.
ugh.
Fair enough.
I got nothing. I got nothing on Safeway. I don't have any of those here.
There you go. I don't think I do either.
Yeah.
To our actual questions, let's start it off with 2 football questions. First, from Reds Rebels, is Lions coach Dan Campbell the most exciting / likable coach in pro sports?
Is that the guy they always have to have wrangled on the sidelines, or is that the Rams guy? They have similar colors. I just don't care enough.
There you go. I mean, he's excitable. He's a fun coach. You also had Giants head coach Brian Daboll, the whitest man, alongside myself, dancing in a locker room after the Giants went 1-0. They're now 2-0. You know, there's some interesting ones. Bill Belichick, very, very exciting, likable coach.
He's
I'd
the
put
most
him in the
memeable
top.
guy on the planet. I love
He
all the
is.
memes. Every
He
time they
is.
show like some drunk guy doing something crazy, someone's in the comments with that Bill Belichick looking through binoculars gif of like he's like scouting the dude. Like it's the best thing ever.
Like, how many
Oh.
other NFL head coaches have been memed, like, in his hoodie? Like they memed Bill Belichick to look like
Belichick.
Palpatine with his hood up. Like, how many other coaches have gotten the Palpatine treatment?
That's
you know?
very true.
Oh,
Oh, that's
God bless that man. Like, literally, it's an autofill if you search Bill Belichick Palpatine.
Yeah.
Oh, it's the best. But yeah, no, I think the Lions are in an interesting spot. They're 1-1 heading into the weekend. Unlike the next team that was asked about, Hawks are the Pittsburgh Steelers, gone to the Super Bowl. And after losing to the Cleveland Browns last night, they're not going to the immediately moderately okay bowl. They're fucking terrible.
Super
Like,
shit.
They're missing their best player in TJ Watt, who apparently I saw that they have never won if he's been out of the lineup since they drafted him.
DJ
So-
Watt also sounds like an actual DJ name. Like Watt for power and fucking DJ Watt. Like, all right, sorry. Anyway, continue. I just
They also have Mitch Trubisky at quarterback. So yeah, no, they are absolutely boned, but it will make for great U-Tree videos throughout this entire season. So I am quite happy about that. And in general, Sen, have you paid attention to the NFL at all at the start of this year?
No,
No?
I don't even know what the Packers' record is, man. Again, I kind of unplugged from Twitter, and then I just like I'm like, oh wow, I don't really care about football. Okay, damn.
There you go, everybody. If you ask a football question, it's pretty much only me that's going to give a shit, I think. I
At
don't know
some
if
point,
Endo's
maybe
paying attention
midway
to the
through the
Bills.
season, maybe when playoffs come around, I'll watch it. But yeah, I'm definitely
Fair
more casual
weather.
than ever.
You fair weather fan, you. How dare
I don't
you.
even care if the Packers are in. I'll just watch it because it's the only
Fair
time
enough.
I'm really interested in football.
From our good friend, Broken Wheelchair. One stadium in any sport from any era you would put at the top of your bucket list to see that you have not been to before. Nhl Mills, we'll start it off with you. One stadium, any sport, any era that you could go to. What would it be?
Any location?
That's the gist, yeah.
I want to see that. A few years ago, I was looking up an assignment for like sports arenas, because you do that sometimes. And I want to go see the North Korean like stadium that they have there. Apparently, it's like the biggest stadium in the world, and it has like, you can see like. Okay, let me. What?
I'm just saying, who claims it's the biggest stadium in the world?
Hey, I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Trump hands. I'm just saying. They say it's big.
Can apparently talk to dolphins too.
Yeah.
Well, there is this gigantic ass stadium, and it might even. I think we're thinking of the same one.
Yeah.
It is officially the second largest stadium in the world by seating capacity, after India's Narendra Modi Stadium, which is fucking gigantic. That has a capacity of 132,000, because I believe it's a cricket stadium. And
yep.
But yeah, North Korea, it's a fucking gigantic place.
It's also corrupt as shit.
Yeah. So it's kind of famous amongst wrestling fans like myself, because in 1995, WCW, World Championship Wrestling, went over to North Korea in conjunction with New Japan Pro Wrestling and held an event in this stadium in North Korea. Now, the attendance is disputed, but day one is listed at 165,000, day two at 190,000, because people had no choice but to go. For some reason, I don't know. People being forced to do something in North Korea? I don't know about that, Chief. That's a really interesting choice.
No, because I was thinking about that. This is more like a second turnbuckle kind of conversation to have.
Right.
Yeah, links to that wherever. But I was thinking that, or like something like going to, like, a real simple answer would be any stadium in Europe for hockey. I'd want to see the HC Davos arena. I'd love to go see that. Yeah, HC Davis. I would love to go take a look at that and just see the infrastructure of it. I'd take that one with me too, because she loves concrete and she loves all that because she's an engineer, so she'd have a field day as well.
I mean, in terms of that, there is one that stands out above the rest. And again, we already mentioned him, a former co-host of this podcast, Deej, brought this to my attention. The Scandinavium. Maybe the best stadium name in really all of professional sports. It's the home of Frölunda in the SHL. The Scandinavium. It's literally, it basically looks like you took the Calgary Saddle Dome and just put it in Sweden.
Oh my God, it does.
Yeah. I'd love to go there. Yeah, the Wikipedia page, it has a McDonald's like either inside of it or right outside of it. But
well, I mean, there you go. You got to have some good European McDonald's. Because I'll tell you what, it's better than American McDonald's.
As Sin and I discovered out of pure necessity when we went to Finland, the Nordics do better in terms of American fast food than American fast food places.
They also do everything better. Just saying.
That is true. I am... We had the best chicken katsu you could ever imagine.
Oh man,
during our time there. I still wish I didn't have to go to Finland to have that again. But yeah, I think we told that story on the pod, just how we were waiting for a bus at midnight, and it's like, well, what's open for food? And there was a Burger King literally right behind us. Let's try it. And Finnish Burger King is the one true Burger King. Not that either of us are a gigantic fan of fast food, but hey, the truth is the truth. You know?
Sometimes you just got to have shitty food, though. Like, sometimes your brain is, and your heart is just like, I just want some shitty food. Because most of the time I'm trying to eat hella healthy. But occasionally I'm just like, I'm just going to eat like shit because I can.
Your favorite stadiums. The one stadium you would visit.
I either Wrigley Field, just because that's pretty iconic.
To stop Steve Bartman from stopping Moises Alou from catching that ball.
Or so tough, man.
There's so many.
There's so many stadiums.
There are a lot of stadiums.
I would want. I'm gonna throw another one in there too. I want to go to an Oakland A's game in Oakland to see how like bad that arena is because everyone says it's terrible.
It's actually pretty good. I loved it. But again, that's the one I grew up in, so maybe it's a nostalgia factor. I don't know.
Definitely.
But I think I don't know why everyone hated it. And I was like, it's a fucking baseball place.
It's the one stadium left that doesn't have dugout guardrails.
Oh yeah, I guess so.
My favorite fun fact about that stadium.
Awesome. And then also the bullpens were not, they were just on the side.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, probably like Fenway or something. Like some kind of like
Yeah.
really like treasured ballpark of like, and probably like, and it said any era, right? Like I'd probably want to go back in the day, like, you know, when baseball was actually good.
Catch a Ted Williams home run, you know?
Yeah. Ah, bam! Teddy fucking Williams knocks it out of the park. You really got a hold of that one.
Okay.
Yep.
No.
Yeah.
Well, Endo, you need to watch Inglourious Bastards, sir.
Yes, he does. For me,
Yeah,
I
he
mean,
will.
there's the big one that I haven't been to yet. I want to go to Anfield, home of Liverpool Football Club. That's the easy one for me. If I think in terms of North American sports, though, it is very, very tough. Like the Polo Grounds for baseball, with just how infamous that stadium's been, especially in a video game sense, where it's like
Oh my god.
little league home runs to right field are further than they were at the Polo Grounds. There's just like some meme-worthy stadiums like that would be pretty fun to go to. From Daniel, NHL teams who missed the playoffs last year that had the greatest chance of making the playoffs this year. We'll start covering that in the next 2 weeks with our season previews. That's the way to do it. Who we think might make the playoffs this year. Will I predict Seattle to win their division again? I might. Stay tuned for that. So our actual last question is from RG Dust. Thoughts on Buffalo Sabres GM Kevin Adams' tenure so far? He just got a contract extension as well. How do you think he's done drafting, considering at one point they had like no scouts when he took over? You know, it's an interesting thing for Buffalo, right? Because this time last year, as we were heading into those season preview shows, what were we talking about with the Buffalo Sabres? Do either of you recall?
No.
They're shit.
Shitty ownership, the Jack Eichel situation?
Jack Eichel.
Okay.
Yeah.
This time last year, it's just what the fuck are they doing with Jack Eichel? Why didn't they let him get the surgery? What the hell is going on there? And in less than a year's time, they have completely, changed the topic of conversation regarding that team. And it started with the Eichel trade. One of the things we were going to talk about later, we could mention it now. In terms of captaincy, we were going to mention that Winnipeg stripped Blake Wheeler of the C. I don't know if either of you have a comment on that, but it's been forever since we've seen a team actively strip a team captain. But with all the reports about Wheeler, Scheifele, and that locker room culture, it's not the most surprising. But the Sabres announced that they're... Go ahead.
What is the report? Wheeler, Scheifele, is there something between them, or are they just shit people?
So that was a big thought, is that they kind of chased Patrick Laine out of town. And that they were, trying to make it clear that, like, it's their locker room and you got to do things their way type of thing. And that there were a lot of reports out at the time in regards to that. Obviously, too, you had, a head coaching change in the middle of last season with someone just actively stepping down. It's a bit of a weird spot there. But obviously they have a new head coach who's the old head coach.
Really?
I forget his name is escaping me, but we talked about that on the show as well. Rick Bowness We had
Oh my
talked about his
God.
tenure before. He gets fired by Dallas, but he now goes back to Winnipeg when he was the initial or one of the first Jets head coaches back in the 80s, which
Jeez,
was
that's hilarious.
hilarious. But Kevin Adams has been at the helm now of the Buffalo Sabres since, I believe, March of 2021. No, June of 2020. He stepped in as a head coach. So he has been head coach of this team for just over, or excuse me, GM of this team for just over 2 years. And
Hard to judge
yeah,
on the draft picks. It's really hard to judge this early, I think.
I would agree. I mean, the 2020 NHL draft, he was hired on June
Jack Quinn's
16th.
nice.
So he's been in charge of their last 3 drafts,
Okay.
which includes, a total of 12 NHL games between the prospects. But Jack Quinn, Owen Power, Isaac Rosen, and then this year, Matt Savoy, Noah Ostland, Yuri Kulich, all in the first round. They've done well.
Yeah, like projection-wise, it seems good, but then you got to wait and see if the players actually pan out. Like Owen
Right.
Power's a pretty brainless pick. I mean, everyone's going to pick Owen Powers. So yeah, we'll have to see how the other ones pick. I do like Jack Quinn. I'll see if I'm right about him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I think in general, like it is definitely a bit too early to judge. At the same time, in terms of the whole captaincy thing, I think we've talked about him a lot. There's no way Alex Tuch is not going to be named captain of that team. He's from the area, like he is the guy to be named captain. We saw how that team kind of essentially rallied around him in the aftermath of the Jack Eichel trade. Like Alex Tuch is going to be, and I wouldn't be surprised if it happens by the time this podcast is out. It should have been done already. But Alex Tuch is going to be the captain of the Buffalo Sabres. He should be.
Oh yeah,
hands
I
down.
think so. Hopefully they're doing like a big ceremony for it. And now that he's not in Vegas anymore, he's definitely a true top sixer. And yeah.
Oh, get ready for fine regular season form from Sin in terms of the Vegas Golden Knights chirps. It's going to be good to get back to those. I can't wait. So again, thank you everybody for sending in your questions as you do. Of course, the link is in the description to my Discord. The viewer question section is there if you want to get your questions in for the next couple of shows. Again, as we kind of get back into the regular season swing of things. But the regular season is where we start off today's big topic of conversation, because the biggest news probably in the NHL right now is the will they or won't they with the San Jose Sharks in what was supposed to be the start of the NHL regular season with the Global Series in Prague. The season is supposed to kick off with Nashville and San Jose in Prague on October 7th. However, for those who do not somehow recall, there's a war going on in Europe right now, and the Czech government has apparently told NHL teams to not bring Russian players to this particular event. The Sharks have responded, specifically new GM Mike Greer, saying all of us go or none of us go. And Czech native Tomáš Hertl put out a quote today supporting Greer's statement. Quote, either we all go or no one goes. We stand behind the team, and especially Barabanov was mentioned specifically. It's a weird situation, I mean, I certainly understand the team aspect. What else do you expect one of the locker room leaders in Tomáš Hertl or the new GM of the team to say in regards to, defending the teammates that are there? At the same time, we have seen numerous different countries now mention in regards to players from their country. It's happened in the Czech League. If you go play in the KHL, for example, you're not getting a call up to the national team in any way, shape, or form. So it is a continued kind of ongoing thing. I think a lot of people are expecting the Czech government to kind of bend here a little bit.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I mean, we'll kind of see what happens. I mean, if you suddenly say, oh, well, the season opener is instead going to be Nashville playing in San Jose, I mean, it's not like those tickets aren't going to sell. So,
No, yeah.
I don't have too much to add, but it's just it's interesting. Obviously, like it's not surprising that we have reached this point.
No, and it kind of already happened but this is different. This is not allowing people who don't even live in Russia to come there because of their ethnicity.
Yeah.
Not so much of we're not going to let these players who actively live in Russia and are from Russia be drafted or whatever or play in certain things. I don't even really have an opinion on it. My thing, like, it's again such a complicated situation. Like the only thing I'll say is that war is fucking shit, and it always brings out the worst in everything and in everyone. Like this right here. I mean,
I think that sums it up perfectly, to be honest.
Yeah, that's a perfect way to sum it up. I'm just looking right now at the the Czech league. See if there are any like Russian players in there, and there's one, Nikita Sashnikov. So it's kind of like you're willing to have him play in your league, but you can't allow people to, technically speaking, do their job as well. You're like they're still going to recoup financially from this. Like this seems more like a really weird political statement, but then also kind of a slap in the face to Sherbak, because this, I mean, Mountfield HK isn't playing in this, but still it's some exposure for the Czech league itself to have a North American like impact. It's weird.
It's an unfortunate set of circumstances, but again, this is kind of the idea of why countries impose sanctions. It's the idea to make things difficult in other ways to try and force, someone's hand. And you can argue how much does it actually accomplish or not. But we'll see what happens with that. I mean, I do hope for hockey fans in Prague that I'm sure we're very much looking forward to this, that something still works out for them. Some injuries around the league. Really more unfortunate news. First and foremost, we kind of mentioned for the Flyers, it is confirmed that Ryan Ellis is not expected to play again this season. His career might very well be done. He's only 31 years old. Obviously, it wasn't all that long ago that he was this really one of the most underappreciated. I can't say underrated. Like, I think people knew how good Ryan Ellis, was, but at the time, just a monster for Nashville. July of 2021, he was traded to the Flyers for Nolan Patrick and Phil Myers. And obviously, we'll be talking about Nolan Patrick here in a second. But it's one of those things where, you just talk about really how fucking unfortunate this is. Just to have a really goddamn good player who, again, his career might be over at this stage. Last season, he played in 4 games, I believe, at the very start of the year, had 5 points in those 4 games, missed the entirety of the season from there, and is expected to miss this season as well. Just brutal, and obviously a huge loss for the Flyers, and that might not be their only huge loss, because it's rumored that Sean Couturier has a back injury, and it's, unconfirmed at this stage just how bad it is. But you talk about that Flyers team, and obviously we'll break down what that roster looks like over the next 2 weeks. But you talk about that particular Flyers team, and you're without your number 1 center. And for my money, no disrespect to Ivan Provorov or Travis Sanheim, but the best defenseman on that team, if he's healthy, and Ryan Ellis, how many teams can survive their best forward and their best defender not being on the team?
While being coached by John Tortorella. They're fucked.
That is $14 million in IR, though. So, plenty of money to give Rasmus Ristolainen another pay raise.
Vegas is going to trade him Jack Eichel for that $14 million of cap space.
Well, Vegas, too, is another team that we have to talk about. We already pretty much had it confirmed, but indeed, Robin Leonard is going to be out for the season. As well, we now know why they traded for Nhl from San Jose, because Laurent Brossoit is starting the season injured as well. So Logan Thompson, Nhl, presumably the tandem to start off the season.
And we got
But-
a fourth for him when a team had a desperate need like that. Not to mention a rival.
Yeah.
We got a fourth, huh? Congrats.
Yeah.
Bullshit. Should have been way more.
Nolan Patrick, who was a part of that Ryan Ellis trade, obviously was flipped from Nashville to Vegas for Cody Glass. Nolan Patrick's going to miss the entirety of this season as well. He just turned 24 years old. Second overall pick. He has just 222 career games played. Compared to Nico Hischier, who went first, who does have 300. He missed some injury time as well, or missed some time due to injury as well. But it's it sucks, man. It sucks because it does look like his career could very well be over. And I mean, you look back at that 2017 drafts and the amount of games played and stuff like that, and obviously it differs depending on when they join the league. But you look at that top five: Hischier, Patrick, Heiskanen, Makar, Elias Pettersson. And one of those things is not like the other. And for Nolan Patrick, it's pretty much been injuries. Like, the comparison's already out there. It's like, it's similar because I think in terms of play style, especially when he was with the Brandon Wheat Kings, I've seen the name Eric Lindros mentioned a lot, but we didn't even get to see Nolan Patrick attempt to be Eric Lindros. Injuries cut him down that much faster.
Yeah.
His draft year, he was hurt very early on. I think he only played, like 6 games, got hurt, came back. He only played 33 games in his final season in the W. Yep. So it sucks, man. Like, I hope his career is not over, but I think at this stage, you might be looking at him going down as kind of one of the biggest what ifs as a second overall pick, and someone who was presumed to be the first overall pick until Nico Hischier had the season he did in his draft year.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate. Like you said, it's like a what if, but like, honestly, on if his career's done, in a way it is. He's never, ever going to reach the potential that he had. At most, he's going to be a role player. And with that injury history, do you risk that? I don't know. Like, maybe he has this crazy turnaround and he somehow gets healthy, but what history has told us with him is that he cannot escape the injury bug. It's got him by the balls, and the only thing he's really ever going to be is kind of third liner at best.
Yeah, and I mean, this is a guy now where it's like, you think back to like the 2020 season, and he was having the migraine issues, where he was having trouble playing because, again, the lights in the arena would essentially be fucking torturous for him. That season too, I think he took a shot, like off the side of his helmet, and he sat out a couple of games just to kind of play it safe. So, you're talking about someone where it's not necessarily like directly concussion related, but you have those particular injuries.
Yep. And
in terms of what the current injury is now, admittedly, I'm not sure, and it's not worth kind of debating. But yeah, it sucks, man. It's sad. And I think you're right. I mean, there might still be, a career for him. He wouldn't be the first guy taken top 3, top 5, top 10 who ended up being more of a role player. He'd fit in perfectly on the Boston Bruins, who love taking first-round picks to be bottom sixers. Had to throw that in there, sorry. But goddamn. I do wish the best for Nolan Patrick. I'm sure we all do. And the final note was that Andrew Ladd, in terms of injuries, is also not expected to play this season. Because of that, though, there was a condition on the trade where the Arizona Coyotes took on the cap hit of Andrew Ladd, and for the Islanders to get rid of that cap hit, the condition was this for Ladd. It was future considerations for Ladd, a 2021 second, which became JJ Moser, which has worked out pretty well for them so far, and in the second round this year, they took Matthias Havlid. The final condition was a third-round pick for this upcoming year, the conditions being if Ladd does not play any professional games in the upcoming season. And there you go. He's not going to. So good bit of business for the Coyotes, unfortunately, at the expense of Andrew Ladd's career, which the guy's turning 37 in December.
Yeah.
You know, he was 4th overall in 2004, has had injury issues. I think, you know, his career has kind of gone on longer than a lot of people expected it to be compared to, you know, the days of him doing very, very well. I mean, winning a cup with Chicago in 2010, and then obviously, you know, being on the Winnipeg Jets for a handful of seasons and doing
I'm
pretty damn
pretty
well there.
sure
So
he was on Carolina for their cup win too, wasn't he?
I
I
think so.
think you're right. Yeah. 2-time champ. Almost a 3-time champ. He was nearly there with the Islanders, I think, when they made their run. So, or at the very least, he was in the system.
into the cup final,
The bubble.
or the conference finals. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, what? When the hell were the Islanders close? I'm like, oh yeah.
Yeah, the conference final run. Yeah. So again, some unfortunate injury news there, but it's, you know, training camp season. We always kind of get that bit of news. And then I've tried to put this off, but you know, let's talk about it now. There were 3 retirements in the past week in the NHL. Let's start off with Keith Yandel, who retired after 16 seasons in the league. Guy just turned 36 years old. He selected in 2005 by the Phoenix Coyotes. And of course, this past season beat Doug Jarvis's streak for the longest or most consecutive games played in NHL history with 965. That is a record that I can't imagine will be broken anytime soon, just because you continue to get, like, the game continues to get more and more physical. And we've talked about that, you know, as the game gets faster and more physical, like, you're just going to run into more fluke injuries time and time again. But really, I mean, I don't think we have as much to talk about in terms of
You just
waxing
triggered
poetic.
so many old heads out there by saying the game's more physical now. All these old heads are like, "Brr," getting all pissed at you right now.
You know,
He's like, "No, it
physicality doesn't mean cheap shots and punching people in the face.
Oh yeah, we know, but they don't know that. They're too fucking stupid. Obviously, as they were agreeing with Jackman, for God's sake, or no, Tyson Nash. Sorry.
Oh, God. Don't
Oh,
remind
yeah.
me of Tyson. Jesus. God, you just brought back a lot of that in the conversation we had on that. And,
Trauma.
oof.
Trauma right there. Oh my God.
And with no disrespect to Keith Yandel, he was overshadowed by the 2 other retirements. PK Subban, at 33 years old, has retired. Obviously, we talked a lot about this past season where it's clear injuries were catching up. The foot speed wasn't quite there. We called him out on numerous occasions for slew footing to try to keep up in a play. It was very obvious that the game had passed PK by, which sucks because, again, the guy's only 33 years old. You know, I know one of the most celebrated clips, of course, that we would have seen was him absolutely fucking destroying Brad Marchand on that hit, and I'm okay with that. I accept that. You know, made it to a cup final with Nashville, fell a little bit short, but while I don't think, you know, you'll see too many people calling for his on-ice career to be Hall of Fame worthy, I do think that one day, based on impact on the game, you could see that conversation kind of come up because, again, you know, it's the guy's 33 years old. He is set for the next 30, 40 years in terms of being an analyst, whether in the US with ESPN, maybe someday he jumps up to Sportsnet or TSN in Canada. He's going to be at the forefront of hockey presentation for a very, very long time.
I honestly think that's what is going to get him in the Hall of Fame. I think his personality
as a builder. Yeah.
And yeah.
I know you have been quoted before that he is your favorite player. So I will throw it over to you. All I can say as a Bruins fan is I have a massive amount of respect for PK Subban, and it is a shame to see that he's retired. But Endo, I want your thoughts here.
I mean, I think the writing was kind of on the wall a little bit. I was like in DMs with you guys saying like, well, he did a podcast in Boston. You could be signing like a 1-year contract here. And then you guys are like, he's probably not gonna. I'm like, there's hope. What if he did? What if he did? Like, I want him to keep playing. It sucks, but that's what it's got to be. He's gonna be. I think he can make a better contribution off the ice than he can on the ice, and I have a feeling he knows that. And that probably was like one of the decisions as well, leading to like going for retirement. Like obviously the game has passed him by a little bit, like you said, but I think it's a little bit more than that, because like the amount of like work and support he's done over the years with charities, with the hospitals in Montreal, stuff in Nashville, some stuff over in New Jersey as well. It's great to see that someone's like giving out that much and doing so much for other people. It's very like humanitarianism, like philanthropy and all that. Like he's always been someone who's always wanted to give back. And like that goes back with his family too. Like they're very nice people. I've had the chance to like meet some of them because I worked with some of them when I was working at TSN. Actually, one of his cousins. And it'd be really funny like if he gets a job over there too, because it's like they're just gonna work together. It'll be really funny to see that dynamic happen like on live like broadcasts and everything, because they're all very high energy eccentric, and I can't wait to see what happens with PK, because I know it's gonna be entertaining. He's always rubbed me off as like the one uncle, like the one like quirky uncle at every get together. That's just him. Yeah. So best wishes to PK. It's going to be, I know my Instagram feed's going to be like lit up as hell. He's just going to be like, I don't got to play in the season. I'm just going to do whatever the hell I want, kind of thing.
He's going to be everywhere in terms of Instagram, TikTok. Like he is going to be everywhere. You know, as one of the most, he's going from being one of the most marketable players due to his personality, due to his ability at his peak, due to, like you said, his charitable work. And now he gets to bring that personality full time to the forefront of helping, at least for the moment, again, being with ESPN, of marketing the game to those in the States. No, PK Subban is still going to be a very, very big part of the hockey world, and rightfully so.
I would not be surprised if it was an outbidding war to pick him up on whatever news broadcast or anything. And if I'm gonna say this personally, if TSN wants to get back in the good books in terms of hockey, you need to pick him up and use him for either Toronto or for Montreal. Because as much as he's from Toronto, and I'm pretty sure the Montreal media loves him or they want him to come back and all that, but I think it'd be better if he goes between the two.
I mean, they love him now that he's gone.
Yeah, you don't want to lose another sports analyst to the US, because unless they're working for TNT, they're not going to use them that well, because NHL and TNT like this year has been amazing.
Another clip that circulated was PK Subban's Don Cherry impression back in the day.
Oh yeah. Yeah. CBC, I'm telling you, if a Canadian network does not land PK Subban, you have absolutely dropped the ball. Like completely.
PK taking over for Coach's Corner. That is a fucking license to print money and would probably piss off some people, which is all the more reason as to why you do it.
Right. These woke people ruin it. Put PK on there. Watch out, Ryan's gonna slew foot you.
Like 100%, I think that would be amazing. I 100% think that's the way to go down the road. But again, a great career for PK Subban. It's a shame that it's ended, and it brings us to the last retirement for a career that we were starting to think would never end. And that is Boston Bruins legend, former captain, 45-year-old Zdeno Chara
has
retired. It still hasn't properly sunk in. Because honestly, it kind of felt like he retired. Like, I did my mourning as a Bruins fan when he left the Bruins. Very similar to when Tom Brady left the Patriots. Granted, I know he wasn't retired, but at the same time, it's like, okay, I'm in mourning now over my sports loss.
There goes my boy.
Here goes my hero. Watch him as he goes. Like, man, the fact that a 6'9" player was able to play 1,652 games, the most all time of any defenseman, is fucking insane.
It's impressive.
Like, that might be the biggest thing that stands out to me is his durability. You know, we've been playing a lot of NBA 2K23 on stream lately. Twitch.tv/Tougie24. And, you know, the cool thing that they added for NBA in terms of franchise this year is their eras mode. It's not perfect, I will say, but that's a different subject. But you can go back and it's like, oh, here's the Yao Ming draft. Or, you know, almost 10 years later, someone like Greg Oden gets picked up. You know, players that just, you know, I mean, Greg Oden's case, he never got off the goddamn ground because of injuries, but, you know, someone like Yao Ming, who made such a gigantic, completely pun intended, impact in the game of basketball. Granted, 7'6", just a little bit bigger. But, you know, he didn't, his body didn't necessarily hold up. You know, he was on the Houston Rockets for less than a decade. So, granted, basketball, whatever, but at the same time, like, that's just Yao running up and down the floor. The motherfucker didn't have to jump to dunk the goddamn ball. Someone like Zdeno Chara at his height, his size, playing professional hockey from 1996 at the NHL level to 2022. Just his durability alone is fucking outrageous. Yeah. And then you get into just how good he was for the majority of that. And I fully understand that there are going to be some Leafs fans, some Habs fans, maybe some Rangers fans, other rivals who are like, what ability, cheap as fuck, blah, blah, blah. Zdeno Chara, in terms of, I'm going to say, his ability to play right on the line. Right on the line, and knowing what he can get away with, what he could not get away with, and how to make the best of his size and skill set. There aren't too many players who had the ability to do that to near perfection like he did. That's another one of my gigantic takeaways. And then you have the fact that, like, flat out, he and Mark Savard signing for the Bruins in the 2006 offseason completely turned that team around. They were rudderless, directionless, essentially, after trading Joe Thornton. Fuck you, Sin. It's your fault, damn it. You sent an email back in 2004 and said, trade for Joe Thornton and ruin this stranger's life. And it worked. Yeah. It's your fault.
Yeah. It was just bullying. I was 14, you were 10. I'm just like, fuck this kid.
Fuck them kids.
Quote Michael Jordan.
Yeah. And for the win.
yeah. Michael Scott.
Man, it's like, I don't know what people expect me to say. It's fucking Zdeno Chara, Norris winner,
legend,
the captain of the team to win the Stanley Cup in 2011.
He
only won the Norris once.
Very well.
Bullshit.
It's very rare for someone who plays like him to win the Norris. You know,
that's fair.
During his career trajectory, that's when it was really changing and becoming the home of the offensive defenseman. And really,
yeah,
it's
I
only
mean, because
been the last few years where it's become the land of the two-way defenseman. You want that guy who can go do crazy on offense, but they gotta play both ends.
Yeah, if you look at the Norris winners post 05 lockout, Lidstrom, Chara, Keith, Lidstrom.
Oh, Keith,
and then it
what?
starts. Yeah, Duncan Keith won it in twice. He won it in 09-10 and 2013-14.
Huh. Okay.
PK won it in 2012-13. By the way, we didn't mention that, and that definitely
Oh.
deserves a shout. But yeah, especially like in the last couple years, Doughty, Burns, Hedman, Giordano, Yossi, Fox, Makar, points, right? And I mean, Zdeno Chara's career high in points was 52 in 2011-12.
Yeah.
Compared to, not a fair comparison, but Cale Makar had 86 points this year.
Mhm.
You know? Man, it's Zdeno Chara. Like, I could wax poetic about the impact that he had on the Boston Bruins all fucking day. Cam Neely in the press conference already basically confirmed, like, no one's ever wearing the number 33 again for the Bruins. To no surprise. I mean, again, Patrice Bergeron's 37. No one else is going to wear that number after him either. It's fucking Zdeno Chara, man. And again, there was just something about
And
the
then
fact that
after that, the Senators can retire his number 2.
yeah. And the Islanders. Washington Capitals legend Zdeno Chara. Man, if he had gone back to Ottawa instead of Washington, it literally would have gone Islanders, Sens, Bruins, Sens,
Then Winnipeg
Islanders.
can, just because even you never played there, but that doesn't matter to Winnipeg. They don't give a fuck. They'll just retire your number.
Winnipeg Jets legend Zdeno Chara. We have a stream title. Oh God. But yeah, I like I said, there was just something about this guy being a Bruin. It was the perfect fit. And like I said, just in terms of what the Bruins' identity was, in terms of like trying to recapture the big bad Bruins feeling leading up to that cup run with Lucic and Horton and Sean Thornton and all these heavy hitters. Yeah, I mean, Chara was absolutely at the helm of that. It's, and no one else will agree but Bruins fans, but it is a shame that he was 1 out of 3 in terms of the cups that he brought home. But he is a Hockey Hall of Famer without any discussion. I think anybody trying to argue that fact, if there is even anybody that would try to argue that fact, is just being contrarian for the sake of it. It's big man who shoots the puck almost to 110 miles an hour.
Yeah.
What's not to love?
He was a perennial. Anytime he was an all-star, don't even bother showing up for the slap shot competition. Like,
unless you're Shea Weber, you're the only guy who can fucking test it, you know?
Wait. Was he there that year, though? Was Chara there the year Shea
I don't know
Weber...
if Chara and Weber ever went head-to-head.
Yeah, like, that's the thing. Like, yeah.
We missed out on that.
Yeah,
we really did. And I mean, I know people won't approve of this statement because it's Jack Edwards, but man, you can look up Zdeno Chara highlight reels. There are unreal fights. There are unreal goals. I think back to his goal against the Florida Panthers, the spinorama, where Jack Edwards called him a ballerina.
Yeah, people say he can't be agile. You fucking kidding me? You see that goal? Complete pirouette.
The argument is that it was against the Florida Panthers in 2013, but still.
Listen, everyone celebrated Zegras when he hit his Michigan, and it was against the Montreal Canadiens, right? So
yes.
Yep. Yeah.
So man, Chara's my favorite player of all time, and I think people can understand.
Really? Above Bergeron.
He and Bergeron are up there, man. And again, like, there are other players that I loved, right, that are among my favorites of all time. Like, dude, I mentioned, like, I have, like, a weird irrational love for, like, Adam Deadmarsh for some reason. He was one of my first favorite players. But no, it comes down to Chara and Bergeron. And it might be the recency bias here of this. But the Bruins, like, I don't know what Patrice Bergeron's career looks like if Zdeno Chara is never a Boston Bruin. Who knows if he even stays? Because maybe the Bruins don't end up on the course that they end up on if Zdeno Chara and Mark Savard don't come to Boston. You know?
Yeah, fair. Man, maybe he could have gotten traded to the Sharks too. Fuck.
You know, that might have been
One,
exactly
two
what you
punch.
needed to push that team over the edge to actually fucking win something.
Absolutely. A fucking defensive 2C would have been great. Even though Couture was supposed to be that, but he's no Bergeron.
Oh my god. Well, let's so hold on. The 15-16 Sharks. Really quickly. That defense let's go for the playoff defense here. Justin Braun, Brent Burns, Brendan Dillon, Paul Martin, Roman Polak, Marc-Edouard Vlasic. You take out like a Roman, no disrespect to Roman Polak, but he was a -5 with no points in 24 playoff games. It's not his role to get points, but man, you take out Roman Polak and put Zdeno Chara.
Oh, I thought we were
I don't
talking
even know
about
if
Bergeron. But yeah.
I don't even know if the cap would have been afforded. Oh, you were talking about Bergeron, then yeah, Jesus
Because
Christ.
you said he was going to leave, and I was like, yeah, well, you would have traded for him too.
Can you imagine? I don't even know how they would have fit it, but their centers would have been, your options would have been Couture, Hurdle, Carlson, Pavelski, Smalling, Thornton, Tierney, Tommy Winkles. Yeah, no, Patrice Bergeron would have fit in pretty well there too.
Yeah. We would have had someone who could beat Sidney Crosby's cheating ass in the face-off dot. God damn it.
Oh my god.
Would have been the way.
So another sad thing about that actually isn't really that sad. It's actually great for people who play NHL 23. Zdeno Chara also signed to be a part of the Alumni Association. And EA Sports has an agreement with the NHLPA and the Alumni Association that their players are in the game, which means that for the end of time, we will be receiving a 99 Zdeno Chara by the time we get to GWC, aka February. I am ready to be hurt again. As someone who doesn't play HUT, I'm not really affected, but I am give me the pain. I'm ready for it. Nothing's gonna change. War never changes.
We could also name the title, instead of Winnipeg Jets legend, it could be Zdeno Chara, I love you. But I think Winnipeg Jets legend Zdeno Chara might be one of the best titles we've ever had.
It's just way too weird. One of my favorite, before we move on, I just got to say one of my favorite Chara moments was when
he intentionally tried to murder Max Pacioretty because he's a fucking piece of garbage. Call the cops.
Yes.
Oh my god. Well, that's not the first time a Habs fan has overreacted like that. Remember when you guys don't remember, but like Maurice Richard getting a penalty, getting a suspension, and there were riots in the fucking streets? Yeah.
Passionate.
Those French. Jesus.
Anyway, sorry.
Yeah. No, it's fine. It was, I'm pretty sure he was in Boston at the time. Oh, yeah, I'm almost positive. It was they were playing the Sharks, and we had a guy named Scott Nickel at the time. He was like 5'9", and Scott Nickel was just the epitome of water bug. And he goes in on the forecheck, and he fucking hits Chara against the boards, and like didn't really do enough to him, but pushed him against the boards, obviously. And Chara looked back at him and smiled. Like that was one of the funniest Chara moments. Was that like it was a smile of amusement, but also respect. And there you go. That just sums it up for me. That was one of my favorite Chara moments. Also, in retrospect, when he beat the brakes off of Evander Kane after Evander Kane tried to jump him from behind.
Oh yeah. Oh my god! It just reminds me of when the Leafs were playing Boston back in the lockout season, and their game plan to like hit Zdeno Chara was for like Phil Kessel to go low and have Joffrey Lupo just hit him on the other side and ragdoll him over top. It's so good.
It's a good strategy though.
It was.
That's
worked,
a D3
but we still
Mighty Ducks
lost.
strategy right there.
God damn.
Oh,
you know, we've talked, by the way, Sin, you'll be happy to know. We've talked about fights a lot and whether or not they still have a place in the game and stuff like that. Zdeno Chara's last fight, February 24th, 2022, my birthday, against San Jose's Jeffrey VL.
Fuck, why don't I remember
that
this?
is going to go down as Chara's final fight, and on hockeyfights.com, the voting results for who won stands at 7 votes for a draw, 2 votes for a VL win, and 47 votes for a Chara win.
Oh, well, apparently VL didn't do too good. He's a good scrapper, but no one can hit Chara. He's got too much reach. He just like holds you.
Like he's
Just
holding
like-
his arms out right now, like down low. It's like this. Like people can't see my arms like extended out in front. And I think he's just like open palm slapping you like fucking Boss Rutan. Because I'm just looking at the punches being thrown right now. And like it's just open palm.
He doesn't want to hurt his hands on the helmet. I don't blame him.
Dude, the crazy motherfucker fought 5 times this last season against Patrick Maroon, Yakov Trenin, Mason Jertson, and Zach McEwen, along with VL.
He knew.
And he just keeps fucking fighting. It's ridiculous.
Holy shit.
I did find that Evander Kane fight, by the way. You'll be happy to know the voting on that on Hockey Fights. 11 votes for a draw, 8 votes for a Kane win, 124 votes for a Chara.
Yeah, I feel like the people who are voting for a Kane win just like are just doing it just to see like how few there are on the other side.
God bless Zdeno Chara. Fucking legend. Gonna be great to see him in the Hockey Hall of Fame. And I feel very spoiled as a Bruins fan to kind of know that like 2 of the best defensemen of all time were Bruins with Chara and Matt Lashoff. Ray Bork. Anyway, with that, let's move on. We got a couple other things to talk about here really quickly as we look to wind down the show. A couple of new contracts, the biggest being Nathan MacKinnon for the Colorado Avalanche in what will be the most expensive deal, I do believe, if he ever hits the ice under that deal before somebody else signs something new. MacKinnon has 1 year left on his contract, and then starting next year in 23-24, 8 years, $12.6 million with a full no movement clause that pays him $100K more against the cap than Connor McDavid. Somebody is bound to get paid more before that contract kicks in, right? I don't necessarily know who.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily know who it would be.
Before it kicks in? Hell no. Who the fuck do you pay more than that?
I'm trying to think whose contracts are coming up. Oh, Jonathan Taves and Patrick Kane. There you go.
No, they're leaving. You don't pay them that amount.
You know, looking at it, it is unlikely. The best, the most hopeful would be like a DeBrincat or a Pasternak, but they're not getting over $12 million unless the cap were to really jump. Oh, Trevor Zegras, NHL cover boy.
Well, you
$14 million. Let's go.
In, right?
Yeah. So someone's gonna sign it the next year. Trevor Zegras. Let's go.
Well,
oh my
doesn't
god,
he still have entry level off? So it wouldn't be.
It wouldn't even count till next season.
Yeah,
his ELC would be expiring after the season. So
yeah. But then the new one kicks in, so it'd be okay. Anyway, I was confused.
Signing bonus.
Nathan MacKinnon, 100% worth it. I mean, he's not the captain of the team, but he's the straw that stirs the drink for the Colorado Avalanche. And fuck, it's about damn time he gets paid what he's actually worth getting paid.
Yes.
Do you guys recall what his current cap hit is, by the way?
6.25.
Endo, you got a guess?
8.7.
No. Sin wins. Price is Right rules. 6.3.
Ah, what? I thought it was 6.25. Whatever.
But yeah, he's been on. It was a 7-year deal, $6.3 million per, signed in July of 2016. Which at the time, it's like maybe that's a little bit risky. You know, around that time, a lot of people, Steve Dangle, rightfully so, were questioning Joe Sakic and some of the moves that were being made. That is going to go down in history as one of the best contracts ever signed, especially because they won the cup this year.
Yeah, and now he gets paid. Now he gets the Kane treatment, and he doesn't need to win again. But they might, because he's way, way better than anyone on those Chicago teams.
I mean, Rantanen has 3 years left if we include this year. Landeskog, by the way, 7 by 7 is his remaining contract. He's only 29. And then they just re-signed Cale Makar. He's got 5 years left, including this year, at just $9 million.
And they got
their window's still there.
Wait, why did I think Kadri went back to Colorado? He totally didn't.
Calgary.
No, he didn't.
Yeah, thank you. I was like,
Yeah.
I have anyway. My franchise modes are blending together with this.
In
This is
news
I
for
was
Endo
McKinnon's
Mills.
in Calgary. Anyway, sorry.
McKinnon in Calgary. They wish. This
Yeah.
one's for Endo Mills. A Leafs legend has returned to the NHL.
Yay.
Nikita Sashnikov, the newest member of the New York Islanders.
Boo.
I was wondering why this name was in here. I'm like, I don't know this name. I feel like I know it, but I'm like, I don't know it, so this must be a meme.
Yep. Played 70 games for a Leaf, for the Leafs with 14 points.
For a Leaf, he plays.
For a Leaf. I mean, let's be honest, 2015 through 2018, I mean...
Oh, yeah, they weren't even the Maple Leafs. They were the Maple Leaf.
Yeah, they really were.
They were
could
not
have
good
put
enough for
bags of
plural.
leaves on the ice and gotten better defense if you strategically placed them properly. Jesus.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just thought it was neat to say the name Nikita Sashnikov in 2022.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
the
he
Edmonton
played-
Oilers.
He played like shit in the A. Holy crap.
Oh yeah, his numbers weren't fantastic. Even in the
Yeah, he went to play for
KHL, his
Buffalo.
numbers haven't been fantastic. So good luck to the Islanders. It's a real Lou
What's Edmonton
Lamoriello
doing?
signing.
That's your
Noted
one
back-to-back.
offseason move.
Noted back-to-back GM of the Year winner Lou Lamoriello.
Pretty sure that's
Oh,
who signed him in
Islanders
the
fans.
first place. What the fuck?
Holy shit.
I think he's
and-
just so senile that he just sees names he recognizes and is like, yeah. Yeah.
He's young. Sir, he's 28. It's young, younger than me.
Lamoriello has the ability to find different names out of names. You know when you look at the letters and you can come up in your head with like all the different names you could make out of the provided letters?
He's just dyslexic.
So he sees Nikita Sashnikov and somehow sees Scott Stevens.
Yeah.
I don't know how he does it.
Oh, fuck.
Oh, it doesn't.
Kulikov. Okay, grab him. Here you
Oh,
go.
dude, bring back Grabowski, Kuhlman, Parento. Let's do it.
Oh,
I think
man.
all of those guys played for the Islanders or had their
And they all
contracts
played for the Leafs at
Islanders.
one point too. Oh my god.
I'm telling you, Lamoriello just signs people he recognizes. I'm not. It's a real thing.
God, absolutely beautiful.
If he keeps
and
it
then
up,
the
we're gonna call him
Oilers.
Lou Limoncello for a bit because holy, these are bad choices.
But limoncello's
Gee.
good.
Yeah,
Shots.
he's having too much of it.
Does Lou Lamoriello spike his limoncello?
It's already.
You decide. Jason Demere's back from the KHL, signed a PTO with the Oilers, as did Jake Virtanen in a completely non-controversial move.
Edmonton loves the controversial people. They're like, hey, well, they were cleared in some minor way by
Yeah,
a totally not slanted justice system to rich people or,
yeah.
you know.
And was totally given the time to prove his character is that a positive one, and that he's someone that could step into an NHL lineup and be a good influence in the locker room. Yeah. Has a career high of 36 points. Yeah, no, that's the big addition right there.
And for any of you with any sort of doubt in your mind and like, oh, well, he was cleared, he's innocent and stuff like this, let me remind you about someone named Brock Turner, who was literally, people watched him rape a girl by a dumpster and he served 3 months. Okay.
Mm.
So next time, you want to trust in the court of law process when it comes to sexual assault, just realize that it's completely fucked until we abolish the patriarchy. It will continue to be fucked. And I won't believe any of these rulings because they're fucked.
The Dallas Stars. You said it perfectly. The Dallas
Yeah, I got
Stars
nothing.
acquired defender Nils Lundqvist from the New York Rangers for a
Henrik
2023.
Lundqvist, let's fucking go. No.
Lundqvist and Ottinger? Let's
Oh
go.
my God.
I can't believe they
saw that
traded
and I immediately
Lundqvist.
thought of the Sharks signing Svechnikov. Like, hey, fuck yeah,
We
let's
got
go. We got
Svechnikov.
Svechnikov.
Evgeny.
Oh wait, you can't Michigan? Fuck. This guy in Anaheim, you can.
You can't Michigan. Oh, shit. Nils Lundqvist to the Stars from the Rangers for a 2023 first rounder that is top 10 protected. and a 2025 fourth rounder that becomes a third if he accumulates 55 points or more over the next 2 seasons.
Seems like a lot.
So for the Rangers, he just wasn't quite like the guarantee of you're totally making our lineup, so let's move on from you. And he was a first round pick, and they get back a first round pick either in 2023 or 2024. It depends on the outcome of the Stars season. And that's a damn good move for GM Chris Drury. I mean, their defense, as we'll talk about, they got some young guys in there to begin with. We'll see if they hedge their bets for the right player. Believable that they did. For the Dallas Stars, you do get a young defenseman who hasn't necessarily proven himself at the NHL level yet. At the same time, he's 22 years old. He's under contract for these next 2 years. Why not see if he's that type of guy that can make your lineup and, really kind of take that Stars defense to the next level? So, base value, you would side with the Rangers for likely winning this trade. Time will ultimately tell. But for the moment, I don't blame Rangers fans for being happy at all.
No, definitely not. I mean, it's kind of like they had so much surplus in that category for those defensemen who were like on the edge. For Dallas, if Lundqvist is solid enough at defense in a Pete DeBoer system, he could do really good. I'm going to say that from experience. He could do very, very good. Remember, I mean, DeMello is pretty solid, but I mean, remember, he kind of clung on to a lot of the success that he had, like through the Sharks, and then, Anyway,
also a weird, Also a weird story in that Ben Bishop, who was LTIR'd by Buffalo after being traded from Dallas, he was wanting to work with the Stars front office this year. The NHL has shot down his ability to do so just because of potentially conflicting interests, even though he's not going to play for the Sabres at all.
LTIR.
Yeah. So, bit of a weird one. Our final 2 topics. Do you guys have time to cover both, or you want to just cover one of them?
Let's cover the one that's actually cool.
And which one is that? Oh, I know which one you think that is. Then
come on.
Well, then quickly,
I don't care about NHL 23 player ratings. They're rated what they are. They're shit. I play anyway. Terrible.
The goalie ratings were out today. Just to touch up upon it, Vasilevsky, Shesterkin in the top 2. That's fine. The one that a lot of people have gotten riled up about is John Gibson still being in the top 5. It just leads to the debate of how bad do you think the Ducks have been versus is he actually bad? Is it good team, bad team? Blah, 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 blah. Like Sin said, we play anyway. And if you're on Series S or Series X, I'll be changing that. So there you go.
Yeah, so people can now get mad at your rosters instead. Honestly, I think it's just people love getting pissed about something, and this is the easiest thing to get pissed about because everyone has their own personal biases. Like, we all know the overall system's completely broken. Like, who cares?
So
overall goaltenders better than 90s old anyway. Like, who cares? You just go get the cheese goalie.
Yeah. So it was mentioned then the hockey guy on YouTube put out a video, the 2022 Misery Index, which weights playoff droughts versus success from 2013 to 2022. In his opinion, you want to start from the top in terms of the most miserable or towards the bottom in terms of the least? Because I'm thinking the least.
Yeah,
makes sense.
Bottom. Started from the bottom.
So obviously the least miserable, the Tampa Bay Lightning.
Mm-hmm.
Pittsburgh, Chicago, St. Louis, Washington. Yeah. I mean, all 5 of them have won Stanley Cups in that time. Makes sense. 27th was Vegas, which I agree with. I mean, in terms of playoff droughts versus success, I mean, you can't claim that they're miserable.
No.
Same with Boston, 26. Yeah. Colorado, 25. Colorado just winning the Cup. Boston's been a competitor pretty much throughout that entire time frame. He put Seattle at 24, which is fair, because where else are you really going to put them? Kings, Rangers, Preds, Sharks. If it's looking solely at playoff droughts, playoff success, Any disagreements there so far as to whether or not any of those teams should be higher?
I don't know. The Kings, I guess, they haven't won in a while. Oh, it's just 2013.
They had a
I
cup
see.
in that time
Yeah,
frame
they
he
had
was
a
looking
cup
at.
in that
So
frame. Yeah.
the Rangers made the cup final against the Kings. The Preds made a cup final. The Sharks made a cup final.
Yeah. Oh, that's fair, I guess.
Yeah. 19, Montreal. They had made a cup final. Dallas at 18, made a cup final.
Mm-hmm.
Minnesota at 17.
Huh.
You know, I think it's tough because, again, if he's solely looking at playoff droughts and success, they haven't really had too many playoff droughts necessarily, it feels like. But boy, have they not had much success.
Yeah, they've just been completely unremarkable.
Yeah, that's as harsh as that sounds. It's true.
Just mid.
It's very true.
Honestly, just mid. That's basically what it is. Like, they have pieces and they just haven't been
The
able to do anything with it.
Minnesota Wild, am I right?
Does that take the episode title? It might. We'll leave it up to Endo. We'll send the suggestions along.
I'm pretty sure Blue I say Blue Jackets legend. I was gonna say Winnipeg Jets legend Zdeno Chara.
Nashville's hanging a banner of Chara up in their rafters right now.
We played you once.
Oh, Anaheim at 16. I think that's fair. Again, for the most part, they were relatively competitive.
I feel like the Islanders are too low in this. They have
So they're 15th.
Yeah, like why are the Ducks higher than them for less misery? Because the Islanders have been to the conference finals twice in this stretch.
Yes.
Yeah.
So why are they why are they there?
That was one that caught my eye. In the early years before Trotz got there, you could definitely say they were pretty miserable. I mean, you had John Tavares and didn't do fuck all with him. But in that time, again, the first season being 2013, they've only missed the playoffs 4 times in that time frame.
Yeah, and with 2 appearances, I feel like the Ducks have done worse.
I think they both made the same amount of conference finals.
The Ducks in that time frame, really?
Yeah, because they made that. Did they make that one conference final, or was that a second round? It was a second round matchup against Edmonton that they won, right? And then they lost in a conference final, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, Anaheim. Yeah, and then they lost to Nashville.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the forgotten cup year because I was still in a depression from the Sharks losing the year before.
Carolina at 14. They made a conference final, so it's understandable. The Jets at 13. They made a conference final. It's understandable. And then you get into the top 12. Columbus at 12. This is tough for me because, I mean, okay, so the team directly ahead of them is Detroit, which I almost feel like Detroit should be in the top 10 for misery because they were dealing with the aftermath of the streak ending. It's been a rough time for the Red Wings.
Sure,
the
but
Blue Jackets as well.
Going through 15.
Yeah, that's fair. Maybe that's what he was really factoring in there.
Yeah.
Blue Jackets as well. I mean, not much to speak of outside of the Tampa victory, right? And beating Toronto in the bubble. Sorry for bringing that up. Which wasn't even technically playoffs. That was the play-in. So, top 10, number 9, Calgary. See, when I see Calgary in the top 10, I can understand
10.
it.
Yeah.
But I'm like, because 9 and 10 are Edmonton and Calgary. I mean, I could certainly see it as being miserable because I think Calgary had some frankly competitive teams in that time that just went fucking nowhere. And Edmonton's had Connor McDavid for the vast majority of this time and doesn't have a conference finals appearance. But in terms of droughts, they've made it the last couple of years.
Yeah.
Ottawa at 8. I'm surprised they're not higher, but they had a conference final run. Lost to Pittsburgh.
Wasn't that in 13? So it was like right on the edge?
I think it was more recent. I think it was like 2017.
What?
Yeah, I think it was the year Nashville went to the final because Chris Kunitz scored the
right. Yeah, wow.
The overtime winner.
What am I thinking about in 2013? I don't even know.
I don't know either. Florida at 7.
Oh, that's Florida. I was like, who the fuck is that?
Yeah.
That logo's weird. Anyway.
Panthers at 7, I can agree with. I mean, You think about prior to the last couple of years, and holy shit, was that team just perennially shit kicked and nowhere near the playoffs. The one time they did make it, they lost to the Islanders, and that might have even been pre-2013. The controversial one.
This
The
is very
Toronto Maple
controversial.
Leafs at 6.
Because up till this point, he's had a very clear system. And this one just feels like controversy. I'm going to stick them really low because, yes, from 2013 to 2016, when the hell? I don't know. Was it 2016? All shit. But then they made the playoffs every single year. And that goes against the system that he's been using before that. Sure,
Yeah.
they've underperformed, but if they've underperformed, put Edmonton a hell of a lot lower because they have Connor fucking McDavid. Like, it's a little weird to me that they're this low, considering that they've made the playoffs every year.
So the top 5, 5-1, Philadelphia, New Jersey, Vancouver, Arizona, and Buffalo. I don't think you can dispute Arizona and Buffalo as the top 2.
No.
I think
'Cause
that's
even though
pretty...
Arizona had conference finals, that was 2012, right?
Yes, so they just missed the cut where Mike Smith got into and after the Mike Smith conference final run against the Kings, shit, like all the way through, with the exception of the bubble where they had a little bit of success. I don't know, like in a general sense, like again, if he's only looking at those 2 indicators, I could see it, but in a general sense, are Flyers, Devils, and Canucks fans more miserable than Leafs fans?
Oh, it's about... I thought it was just the misery for the teams.
Well,
Like,
I mean...
fan-wise, of course, Leafs fans, they're always miserable.
Yeah, we
imagine
everything.
It goes hand in hand with the idea of like the team underperforming and where the fans would feel that they are at that stage.
I don't know. Like, to me, it seemed like he had a system of just like where they made the playoffs, how far they went versus, cup wins and stuff like that. And that all ranking made sense. But then you're getting to like the weird X factors here of like, well, Toronto, they should be this because of the hype. But like, I mean, again, they've still made the playoffs, 5 years in a row in this same span, which is more than Florida, Calgary, way more than Detroit. So it's curious to me.
I think it makes for an interesting video. I do highly recommend that everyone goes out and checks it out. But yeah, I was definitely wondering like the thoughts of like, you see the system and the Leafs are at 6.
Yeah, that didn't click to me because it definitely seemed like everything else was a system. But then all of a sudden you get into bigger conversations, but you got to do that for everyone. I think if you're going to do that and you got to take in all the X factors, which is crazy for a video, that'd be hours long.
Yeah. One thing too is like the Leafs just set a franchise record for most points this year and most wins.
Yeah, but
right.
And I guess making the playoffs is part of playoff success versus drought. I mean, that's his whole thing is playoff success versus drought.
It's an interesting video idea. I highly recommend people go check it out. Yeah. At the very least, I thought, well, if we don't want to discuss NHL 23's fucking ratings, because who the hell wants to do that, then that could at least be an interesting little talking point. Gentlemen, we have made it through an off season. We had to go 1 a week for like the past 2 months to make it here, because goddamn, as there been some down points in this postseason.
Yeah, now we actually got to work again. Chat, fuck you.
Oh my God, yeah. So we will be back next week, and it looks like it'll be, with training camps open, a return to 2 a week, as we'll, over the next 2 weeks, get into our break episode title. Yeah, we'll be getting into our twice a week episodes and our little preseason predictions. Let's see. What do we want to start off on the next show? Let's see. Sin, pick an Eastern division, and Endo, pick a Western division for our next show. What 2 divisions are we going to break down?
Atlantic.
Pacific.
All right. There you go. We'll be covering all 3 of our favorite teams and where we think they'll be on the next show. We hope to see you then. Endo Mills, until then, what do you got going on, buddy?
I stream every day on Twitch. I'm probably leaving because Twitch has made some weird fucking decisions. Funny enough, we didn't talk about this at all today, but Twitch announced that they're going to be cutting back The big one is they're getting rid of gambling streams, just like unsanctioned gambling streams. The other one is that apparently when they made their new statement about how partners are only getting 50-50 cuts, the creative director or like one of the executives who was like against that push left the company like before that announcement went out, which is hilarious and shows that there's a lot of disconnect in the company, whatever. But probably gonna be streaming on Twitch and YouTube. Nhl Mills, drop a sub, help me get to 100 so I can get a custom URL. Por favor. That's it for me.
Oh, you don't have 100 yet? That's terrible. Let me help. I don't think I've subbed yet.
What?
Hold on. I was thinking about it. I'm like, I don't know if I've actually subbed. Oh, that's Edno Mills. What the hell is that?
Edno.
Edno Mills. Discount
Edno?
Edno Mills. Edno.
Let's see. Edno Mills.
Oh, I am subscribed. Okay, good. I feel not bad.
Thank you.
I was like, oh shit. All right, you should.
There you
I
go.
wonder if you're featured on my channel.
Subscribe to Endo Mills on the YouTubes. Do it. Do it now.
Do it now.
Do it.
Sensky, what do you got going on here over the next little bit?
Oh, you know. Yeah. Doing a draft to glory. Already completed the challenge in fucking year 7, which was pretty hilarious. And so just still making some videos for it because I'm like, that's too early. Like I was still at the point where I was doing an episode per year, and then I had to do so much editing on that episode because I ended up recording for over 2 hours, and like towards the end, like my shit started dropping frames, so everything was out of sync, like the whole video because of that. Oh, that was a horrible episode. But yeah, it's good stuff. I'm having a blast with it. Still playing Total War Warhammer 3 on the channel as well, having a blast doing that, of course. And yeah, I'm gonna continue to expand on my channel and not just keep pigeonholing myself into NHL or sports in general. And I'm having a lot of fun, even though I'm getting like 100 views a video on Total War. I'm having a blast with it. I'm passionate about it. So love it if you guys would check that out.
Make sure you do that again. Sin for the Win Productions on YouTube. We'll be back next week, everybody. The podcast back in full force. We thank you very much for listening, for watching. Again, Manscaped, code Tougie, 20% off. And we will see you guys at the start of an NHL season. Round 3 of the Tougies Take podcast. Will there, in fact, be new hosts? No, there won't. Unless, I don't know. Unless one of you two get mad at me in the next week.
Unless Crash comes in and makes us the third turnbuckle.
Oh, the third turnbuckle. the ultimate stable of us four. Goddamn. Listen to the second Turnbuckle podcast as well if you want to hear Crash, Andrews, and I talk about wrestling. Goodbye. We'll see you next week. Peace. Winnipeg. Jets Legends. Dana Chara.
Yeah,
Get
buddy.
pegged.